an example which is easier done by one method, but it is very difficult to do it by the other method. So you will have to take your judgment that how should you solve this. Supposing somebody is asking you, no, no, you have to solve it by this method only, and you're not able to understand that method, then you can always solve it by another method. This doesn't hold true for your examinations. In the examination, if it is given that you have to solve it combinatorically, you cannot solve it algebraically. If it is said you have to solve it by linear algebra, you cannot solve it graphically. So for I am not talking about examination, I'm talking about your logic. If you feel that you are not able to understand the logic of solving a problem by one way, always shift to the second way so that you understand how to solve it. Come back to the first method and understand that as well. We are starting. We have already seen principle of mathematical induction in the last session. We had said that we are going to first find out the proposition or an open statement, and we will denote that open statement by Sn. So let Sn be an open statement involving a positive integer n. If S1 is true, that means this particular open statement is true when I substitute the value of n as 1. And if for each positive integer k, assuming that the statement sk is true, implies that the statement, yes, yes, implies that the statement sk plus 1 is true, then Sn is true for every positive integer n. This was the statement of principle of mathematical induction. We had put up in the form which we had been taught in the earlier class. In the earlier class, we were being given a proposition Pn, and the first step was anchoring the induction or basic step. In the anchoring the induction, we always used to put up the value of n as 1, and we used to prove it that P1 is true. But principle of mathematical induction doesn't say that it should be true for n equal to 1. We simply want that it should be true for a least value. Now, in this case, I said a least value. A least value means there might be many least values, but I want the least among the least values. That is the lower bound of minimums. So in this case, I want the least value. The means only one. A means many. So I want the least value of n for that statement. So instead of n equal to 1, maybe there might be a statement which holds true for n equal to 5 onwards or n equal to 4 onwards. But it is not true for the numbers which are less than 4. So I will have to anchor the induction with some value, and that value should be the least value. And once we have anchored the induction, that means the basic step is checked, we proceed further with induction hypothesis. Now, induction hypothesis says I am assuming this. If I am assuming this, then I am proving the next step. For assumption, we are taking the validity of Pn for n equal to k implies the validity of Pn for n equal to k plus 1. This simply says that P of k is true implies P of k plus 1 is true. So then by the principle of mathematical induction, we conclude that Pn is true for all n belonging to n. Please note in this case, my whole proposition is based on first, anchoring the induction. Second, the induction hypothesis. What is anchoring the induction? P of n is true for the least value. Second, induction hypothesis says Pk is true implies Pk plus 1 is true. These two steps are very much required. If any one of these steps are not proved or are wrong, then we cannot conclude that Pn is true for all n. I'll repeat what did I say. There is step 1 and step 2. If any one of these steps are not true, I cannot apply principle of mathematical induction. There are many fallacies which have been circulating or which are there in existence, and people say, oh, I could prove this by mathematical induction, but this is wrong. Now, what do I mean by that? If you remember, when you were doing surds or square roots, one of your professor, one of your classmate came up and say, oh, I can prove 1 equal to 0. And you were wondering what was happening. Everything was fine. The only thing is they had missed out on one basic definition or the basic principle. I will not go into details of how do we prove 1 equal to 0 using square roots, but I will show you the fallacy of this particular principle of mathematical induction. Please note we have written importance of both steps in PMI. So we want to prove this proposition. A proposition Pn is 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus n is equal to n square plus n plus 2 upon 2. Show that if Pk is true, then Pk plus 1 is also true. Does this mean P1 is true for all n belonging to n? Give reasons. Now check, they have already given you a proposition. What is the proposition? Pn is such and such. What it is asking us to show, it is saying that assume your Pk is true and show your Pk plus 1 is also true. It is not saying anything else. The question is meant in such a way that it says if it is true for k, show that it is true for k plus 1. So we are first going to look at this part. Show that if pk is true, then pk plus 1 is also true. So we are given, since the given proposition is for n equal to 2, for n equal to k, it is true. So we are assuming this statement. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus k is equal to k square plus k plus 2 upon 2. Before I proceed, anybody has any doubt till this long? What we have been talking about? Okay. Okay. So our given proposition is Pn, and it is given that Pk is true. Pk is true, that means I can assume this is true. 1, 2, 3 till k is equal to k square plus k plus 2 by 2. Now I have to prove that Pk plus 1 is true. Now the proposition for Pk plus 1 is this. I am on the LHS, I am replacing k by k plus 1. On the RHS, I am replacing k by k plus 1. On simplification, I should get the RHS as k square plus 3k plus 4. Now, how did I get that? This is k square plus 2k plus 1. And this is k plus 1. So I'll get 1k square, 2k and k, 3k, 1 plus 1 plus 2. That becomes 4. So I should prove that my LHS 1 plus 2 plus 3 till k plus 1 is k square plus 3k plus 4 upon 2. So we are considering the LHS. In the LHS, first k terms I can replace by k square plus k plus 2 by 2. And then I'm simplifying. This k plus 1 remains as it is. This is where I'm using my induction hypothesis that pk is true. I cross multiply, get the denominator as same 2. I'll get k square plus k plus 2 plus 2k plus 2. Collect the like terms and write down. We are going to write down as k square plus 3k plus 4 upon 2, which is same as RHS. So thus the validity of pk implies pk plus 1. Please note what was our question. Our question was first, pk is true implies pk plus 1 is true. We have already shown if pk is true, pk plus 1 is true. But what was the next thing? The next thing said that, can you say that pk is true for all n? Now, if I have to say that pk is true for all n, then I should check it for the minimum value, the least value. And here I am putting the least value as 1. In the LHS, when I put up the least value, that is 1 plus 2 plus 3 till n as 1, I'll get the answer as 1. In the RHS, n square plus n plus 2 upon 2, when I put up the value of n as 1, I'll get 1 plus 1 plus 2 upon 2, which is 2. So LHS of P1 is not equal to RHS of P1. I had said that both these steps are important. If the first step is not valid, you should not proceed for the second step. But here the question was being framed in such a fashion that it asked you to do the induction hypothesis step first. And then they were checking the basic step or the anchoring the step. Since one of the condition of principle of mathematical induction is not satisfied, hence the given proposition is not true for all n belonging to n. So we finished the first part that pk implies pk plus 1. But we cannot say in general because the induction step or the basic step was not true, and hence our reason is that if one of the condition is not true, I cannot say that this is true. Now check, go back and check. We had said 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus n is equal to n plus 1 by 2. So how this suddenly this expression has come? This expression is wrong, na? It is not n into n plus 1 by 2. I already know 1 plus 2 plus 3, the first sum of first n natural numbers is n plus 1 by 2. I could have rejected there and then itself. But people, those who do not know or don't remember, they will proceed with this. Kindly take the screenshot for this, and if you have any queries, put up in the chat panel. Take the screenshot for this as well. Raju Rakshit, your mic is on. Raju Rakshit,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
your mic is on. What is happening? You're going online, offline, and suddenly your mic comes up. Do you
Yes,
want us to
ma'am.
dismiss your
Network
podcast?
issue.
Any doubt till this long that if one of the statements are not true, then you cannot use principle of mathematical induction. If anchoring step and the induction hypothesis is true, then only you should proceed further with principle of mathematical induction. So this is what we have seen. Now we'll be solving few more examples using principle of mathematical induction. This is the first principle of mathematical induction. There is second principle of mathematical induction also. So today we will try to cover up that. Here the question says, prove by induction that 3 raised to n minus 2n minus 1 is divisible by 4 for all n belonging to natural numbers. Now, whenever such kind of statement turns up, we will have to first write down the statement in the form of an equation, because it is very easy for us to take the LHS or RHS and deduce that it is giving me the answer as RHS or LHS. That simply says we can always start with LHS and show that is equal to RHS or not equal to. Similarly, we can always take RHS and show whether it is equal to LHS or no. Or we can solve LHS separately, RHS separately, come to one particular point where it matches or it doesn't match. And then we can come up to the conclusion. So very first thing, I should convert this particular statement. 3 raised to n minus 2n minus 1 is divisible by 4. Any number which is divisible by 4. Say, assuming if I say 24. So we'll ask, is 24 divisible by 4? That simply says, can I write down 24 as a multiple of 4? Yes, I can write down 24 as 4 into 6. But if I ask you, can I write down 31 as multiple of 4? No, I cannot. So I will say 31 is not divisible by 4. So we'll be first writing down meaning of A is divisible by B. That is 24 is divisible by 4. That simply says I can write down 24 as 4 into some positive number or into some integer such that I'm saying A equal to BR. Please note R is an integer. When I say R is an integer, I am able to write down 24 as 4 into 6. But if I give a number as minus 24, I'll be writing down it as 4 into minus 6. But if I give you 31, you will say I can write down 31 equal to 4 into 31 by 4. But 31 by 4 is not an integer. So I cannot say that 31 comes in the table of 4, or 31 is a multiple of 4, or 31 is divisible by 4. Please note one statement we have given in various different forms. Says whether 31 is divisible by 4, 31 is multiple of 4, or 31 comes in the table of 4. So the meaning says A is divisible by B means there exists an integer R. I'm saying integer, not a natural number. Integer are positive, negative numbers. And we do not want an integer to be a zero integer. Zero comes in every numbers table. If you want to write down 0 is divisible by 4, you will say yes, 0 equal to 4 into 0. Is it divisible by 10? Yes, 0 equal to 10 into 0. So accepting 0, we are saying that these numbers are divisible. So now my proposition is, let Pn denotes 3 raised to n minus 2n minus 1 is divisible by 4. What is my statement? My statement is this complete statement. 3n minus 2n minus 1 is divisible by 4. So in this case, we are saying let this statement be represented by Pn. So my statement is this full. 3 raised to n minus 2n minus 1 is divisible by 4. So we are going for the anchoring this induction step. So we are substituting the value of n as 1. Now from where did I get this? Please check. This says it is true for all n belonging to natural numbers. The least value of natural numbers is 1. So we have put up this as 1. Let n equal to 1. Then 3 raised to n minus 2n minus 1 is nothing but 3 minus 2 minus 1. There's some mistake. 3 minus 2 minus 1, which is 0. So 3 minus 2 minus 1 is 0, which is nothing but 4 into 0. So we say that P1 is true. That is Pn is true for n equal to 1. So we have said that the anchoring the induction step is true. Now I have to go to the next step. Next step says that you're assuming Pk is true to prove Pk plus 1 is true. That means you're assuming Pn is true for n equal to k, and you are trying to prove Pn for n equal to k plus 1 is true. Take the screenshot for this so that I can proceed. So we are assuming the second step. The second step says that Pk is true. When the second step says Pk is true, that simply says 3 raised to k minus 2k minus 1 is divisible by 4. That means 3k minus 2k minus 1 is equal to 4 times some number, and this number is an integer. So it is equal to 4 times m. I'm taking that number as m. So my second step for Pk is true says that this equation holds true. Now I want to prove for n equal to k plus 1. That means I have to prove that 3 raised to k plus 1 minus twice of k plus 1 minus 1 is divisible by 4. So we will consider the expression 3 raised to k plus 1 minus twice of k plus 1 minus 1. Try to simplify this in terms of k and use the induction step and then proceed further. What do I mean by that? We are rewriting this as check. We are writing 3 raised to k plus 1 as 3 times 3 raised to k minus 2k minus 2 minus 1. And on simplification, the last term, constant term becomes minus 3. Now I can't see how to proceed further from here. Now if I can't see how to proceed further from here, I will have to do some adjustments. Now check. I want 3 raised to k minus 2k minus 1. I want here 3 raised to k minus 2k minus 1. If I take 3 common out of this, what will I get? If I take 3 common, I will get 3 raised to k minus 2 by 3 times of k minus 1. But check, the coefficient of k will be minus 2 by 3, but I wanted minus 2. So we are adjusting these terms. Instead of minus 2k, I'm writing minus 6k plus 4. I'm adjusting these terms minus 6k plus 4k. So that from the first 3 terms, if I take out 3 common, I will get it as 3. In the parenthesis or in the bracket, I'll be getting 3 raised to k minus 2k minus 1 plus 4k. Now I can always substitute for this parenthesis 4 into m. So if I substitute for this parenthesis 4 into m, I will get 3 times 4m plus 4k. Now take out 4 common from this. In the parenthesis or in the bracket, I'll have 3m plus k. Now check, 3m plus k is also an integer. Why? Because m was an integer, k is a natural number. Addition of two integers, the natural number itself is an integer. So addition of two integers is again an integer. So we have written down this expression as 4 times some number. So this simply says this expression is divisible by 4. That means we have said pk plus 1 is true. That is, pk is true implies pk plus 1 is true. Take the screenshot for this. So the last step simply says, therefore, by the principle of mathematical induction, Pn is true. We're proceeding for the next example. Any doubts till this long? Only few people are responding, others are sleeping. This time I want response from everyone. Still few people are remaining. Still two people. Okay, let's proceed. Example 5 says, prove by induction x raised to n minus y raised to n is x minus y into x raised to n minus 1 plus x raised to n minus 2 into y plus x raised to n minus 3 into y square. So on till y raised to n minus 1. Please note the sum of indices. In the first term of the second bracket, you have x raised to n minus 1, y raised to 0. In the next term, you have x raised to n minus 2, y. So n minus 2 plus 1 is n minus 1. Similarly, for the next one, it is x raised to n minus 3, y square. So if you add up the indices, you're getting n minus 1. So the second bracket, its degree is n minus 1. If I have on the LHS x raised to n minus y raised to n, I will get this as x minus y into an expression whose degree is n minus 1. If you remember the difference of two squares formula, x square minus y square, what was that? It was x minus y into x plus y. But from if I substitute n equal to 2 in this, what will I get? X raised to 2 minus 1, which will be x, plus x raised to 2 minus 2, which will be 0, into y. That means I will have only two terms. I will have x raised to n minus 1 term here, and I will have only this term. Is this point clear? What did I say? When I substitute n equal to 2, what will you get? If you substitute n equal to 2 in this expression, what are you going to get? I want everyone to substitute n equal to 2 in the second expression and tell me what do you get. we want you to tell me that if I write down this as this, what will be my other bracket? My other bracket will be x raised to 2 minus 1, y raised to 0, plus x raised to 2 minus 2, y raised to 2. Now, can I proceed further? I cannot proceed. Sorry. I cannot proceed further in this. Why I cannot proceed further in this? Because check, I have to reach to save index as this. Have a look at this. This was x raised to n minus 1, y raised to 0, plus x raised to n minus 2, y raised to 1, plus x raised to n minus 3, y square. So here the index was n minus 1. So in this expression, what should be my index or order of this expression? The order of this expression has to be n minus 1, but I've taken n as 2. So the order has to be 1. So if I simplify this, what will I get? I will get it as x minus y into x raised to 2 minus 1 is x, y raised to 0 is 1, plus x raised to 2 minus 2 is 0, and y raised to 1. So I'll get it as x minus y into x plus y. Is this point clear? Now let us proceed further and check this for x cube. If I do it for x cube, what will I get? I will get x minus y, x raised to 3 minus 1, y raised to 0, plus x raised to 3 minus 2, y raised to 2, plus x raised to 3 minus 3, y raised to 3. Sorry. So we'll get it as x raised to 3 minus 1, y raised to 0. Please add up the indices of the first term. 3 minus 1 is 2, plus 0 is 2. Similarly, 3 minus 2 is 1. 1 plus 1, 2. 3 minus 3 is 0. Plus 2 is 2. So here every expression has its index as 2. And the order of this expression is 2. So I'll be getting this as x square plus xy plus y square. Is this point clear? Now, if this is clear, we'll go back to our induction process. So we are saying let Pn denote x raised to n equal to x minus y, x raised to n minus 1 plus x raised to n minus 2 into y, and so on till y raised to n minus 1. We are taking n equal to 2, and we have shown that x square minus y square is same as x minus y plus x plus y, which is same as your RHS. Just a minute. The things are reversed. I have changed, I have shuffled few steps. Reason was in the earlier case I was verifying. Verification doesn't mean that you're proving. There is a difference between verification and proving. So this says x square minus, we are taking LHS x square minus y square. But I already know how to write down the difference of two squares. Difference of two squares is x minus y into x plus y. And now I have to show that x plus y is same as my second bracket. So we are writing down this is x raised to 1 plus y raised to 0 plus x raised to 0 y raised to 1. So we've written down x raised to 2 minus 1 y raised to 0 plus x raised to 2 minus 2 y raised to 2. Y raised to 2 minus 1, which is same as your RHS. Be very careful when such kind of indexes comes into picture. See, even I have made so many typographical errors over there. So P2 is true, thus Pn is true for n equal to 2. And then we are assuming it is true for n equal to k. Before I proceed, take the screenshot, and if you have any doubts, please ask. Waiting for your response. Okay. So we have assumed that it is true for n equal to k. So we want to show that it is true for n equal to k plus 1. So we are considering the LHS. The LHS is x raised to k plus 1 minus y raised to k plus 1. Be very careful when we are going to write down this. We are writing down this as x raised to k plus 1 minus y raised to k plus 1. I wanted x raised to k and y raised to k to be common from this. If I want to take out x raised to k and y raised to k common from this in some fashion, I am adjusting the terms x raised x into y raised to k. So I will be getting the from the first two terms x common. From the next two terms y raised to k common. So let's check. From the first two terms x common, in the bracket I'm getting x raised to k minus y raised to k. From the next terms I'm getting y raised to k common, and I'm getting x minus y. But remember what was x raised to k minus y raised to k? This was x minus y into some bracketed term whose order was k minus 1. So I can write down this x raised to k minus y raised to k as these two terms. When I can write down these as these two terms, two bracketed terms, I can always take x minus y common. When I take x minus y common, I'll get x into this expression plus y raised to k. Now check x into this expression. X into x raised to k minus 1 is x raised to k. So this power is increased by 1. I'll get x raised to k. I'll get this as x raised to k minus 1 into y plus x raised to k minus 2 into y square and so on. So I will get the first term as x raised to k. Next is x raised to k minus 1 into y. And check this second last term. I'll get x square y raised to k minus 2. And this I'll get it as x into y raised to k minus 1. And then last term. Check what are the indices for each term. Indices for each term is this is k minus 1 plus 1, k minus 2 plus 2, k, 1 plus k minus 1, k, and this is k. So this is same as our RHS. Hence we have said pk plus 1 is true. Therefore, by mathematical induction, we are saying Pn is true. Please note, I have changed the statement here. We had not proved for n, all n, but we have proved for n greater than 1. So in case if you are getting in the question it is true for all n belonging to n, then you start checking from which value it is true. Now in this case, we are saying it is true from 2 onwards. So if it is 2 from 2 onwards, I have written down that the statement is true for all n greater than 1. Take the screenshot. Roshan Jadhav off screen.